Hello everyone! My name is Annie Boudreau. I am the founder here at School of Reverence, and I am happy to be spending this little bit of time with you. This is week 2 of the new 8-part series called How to Be a Kind Friend. And I am not today on my velvet couch because I am currently facilitating a 30-day detox retreat for someone, and so spending time with them right now. And so here we go. This is week 2 of How to Be a Kind Friend. And so I will be offering kind of little tasters of what we talk about, dive into in the Embodied Wonderment Method Facilitator Training. And so week 2 is the theme is compassionate presence, the power of compassionate presence. And so I thought I'd start this little talk with a story about a friend that is extremely powerful in her compassion. So here we go. You ready for my little story? Okay. So this story is quite long, so I'm going to shorten it up a little, but here's the snippet of it. Many of you know I live with the symptoms of brain injury, which means I live with chronic daily migraines. I have migraines 24/7. And through the years, I've had a team of specialists, and my doctor's been trying to find, neurologists and other types of specialists that could kind of help me. And so they had found a neurologist in Vancouver that thought that would really be able to help me with, how to rewire my brain and gain a little bit more skillful means of how to live with this pain that I live with. Anyway, so it was about an 8-hour drive away from Nelson to Vancouver. And at the time that was really hard for me to do already. So it took everything, all of my might to get to Vancouver with my son. We drove there. And when we got there, it was truly, I was brought into the neurologist's office. I got poked and probed and light shined in my eyes for about 5 minutes or so. There was no conversation with me or asking me anything that I already do, or no conversation with me at all, just poked and probed. And she sat me down at her desk and said, there's nothing we can do. All you can do is manage your pain. Here's a website with 10-minute meditations. By the way, I was already meditating an hour a day at that point. Here's a website with 10-minute meditations, best of luck. Yeah. There's even more textures of what happened there, but let me just say that I felt so fucking deflated after that interaction with this neurologist. I just got in such a state of despair, and I was so worried considering that I was going to need to drive home, another 8 hours, and I could feel my thoughts amping up and my nervous system really in deep arousal state, and I was almost gonna start hyperventilating, And so I leave the office and grab my son and, trying to fight back the tears. And then there in the doorway is my friend Christy Foreman, who I didn't even tell her where the office was or anything. Somehow she figured it out and is right there as I'm about to leave, and looks at me and says, "Hi, I came because I thought you might need some support." And I just looked at her, and then she just held me and gave me the biggest hug. And everything changed for me. It completely changed my physiology in a fraction of a second. Just her being there for me. I went from a deep state of despair, a hyper aroused state in my nervous system, to feeling grounded, to really allowing myself to have a few tears, but that'd be okay, to feeling re-energized. You know what? It's just no big deal. We'll figure this out a different way. And I felt a lot more empowered and grounded. And we were able to go have some food after, and I could really feel myself again. I was ready to drive home, It shifted a lot for me. And that was in a like fraction of a second, seriously. Just her being there and saying like, I want to be here for you. I see you. She didn't offer advice. She didn't try to fix anything for me. She was just there. That was enough. That was enough to change things for me. And it helped me keep going, you know? So I want you to take a moment. My heart's just feeling all warm. I'm feeling tenderness of just that moment and how powerful it was. Thank you, Christy Foreman. She knows I say this, talk about this story, so I have permission. So I'd like you to consider a time where you really felt seen, heard, acknowledged by someone. And maybe that's a very recent time, maybe that's a while back. And if you don't know a moment like that, imagine what it might be like to feel seen, heard, acknowledged by someone, you know? And just take that in. Yeah. And now also bring into your periphery a time where you really saw and heard and acknowledged someone. And notice how your body felt when you did that, when you showed up that way for someone else. Yeah. And now consider a time, now imagine if you met yourself in this way, you really saw and heard and acknowledged your own fine self and all of the parts that are sticky and icky and hard. What might happen if you met yourself in that same way? Yeah. You see? So being a kind friend, y'all, starts with ourselves. Being good, kind to our own selves so that we may show up with more kindness for others. And so why I'm saying that is because we are currently, the ground that we're starting with is a culture of saving and fixing others so that we don't have to witness their discomfort. Does that feel true? Yes. Here's what I'm offering is that what we don't need as friends is to show up with a bunch of advice and strategies. What we actually need is to show up with each other more human to human and heart to heart. And that's enough. Your heart, your brilliance, your worthiness is enough to change someone's life, to change someone's physiology. Strategies and all these other things, they're bonus, sure, they're helpful, but you are enough. Can you trust that? Can you start with just that? Just showing up and really seeing someone might be enough. Yeah, I know, it's a big one, right? Okay, so to be a kind friend means to trust myself, trust my worthiness, so I can trust the worthiness and sanity of the person in front of me. It means to drop out of savior mentality and just really be present first. And so for that, we need to start really cultivating pause so that we can develop more friendliness towards ourselves and so that we can be more present to the moment, to actually attune to what's happening before we make a whole bunch of stories up about it, before we try to change it and fix it and make everything better, you see. So that's what we're going to just kind of attune to this week. In the next video, I'll speak to a practice called the sanity break, which is a way to cultivate pause and attune with ourselves so that we can be more present to the moment. For now, let's just kind of integrate this little story that I gave, this sense of, trusting our worthiness so that we can show up with more compassion towards others. So let's just take a few breaths. Feel what we feel. Tune with your fine self and just see if there's a word there for you right now after just kind of hearing what I put forward. What's sticking with you? What does that mean to you right now? And how is this showing up or not showing up in your current friendships? I definitely feel more present just thinking of all of the moments where my friends have seen, heard, and acknowledged me as enough to give me energy for the day. You know, it's so fucking rad. I have such good friends. Grateful. And so, yeah, how are you? Let me know. Let me know what this meant for you, how it landed. And I'll see you again this week for the sanity break. Okay. Much love, everyone.